Good morning and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the latest headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's strong reprimand for Swamy says leaders should not think they are above the system. US backs India's entry into MTCR, says it would strengthen international non-proliferation. Heavy rains lash parts of Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Pre-monsoon showers in Delhi bring much-needed relief. Crunch three-day summit to discuss Brexit begins today. British Prime Minister David Cameron will address EU leaders to explain to them political fallout of the decision. And Iceland stuns England into the Euro Championships, scored 2-1 victory to book a quarter-final place against France.
And it takes the hair pushes it.
Well, barely days after India's entry into the elite NSG group was blocked by China, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has exuded confidence that the country will get a membership of the bloc, and the process for it has begun on a positive note. He also disapproved of party MP Swamy's attacks on RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan and some top finance ministry officials, saying that they are inappropriate. Now, calling Rajan no less patriotic, Modi virtually ticked off Swamy, saying that if anybody considers himself above the system, then it is wrong. Now, speaking of the Indo-Pak relations, Modi said that India will have to be alert and conscious all the time with its neighbour. He stressed that the world was now convinced about India's views on terrorism emanating from across the border. Prime Minister Modi also denied the allegations of political witch hunt in the Augusta Westland Chopper deal probe, saying that the investigating agencies are doing a professional job. He also maintained that the people behind these are very experienced and have perfectly practiced the art of doing wrong deeds. The Prime Minister claimed that such a thing would not have been done without a big protective shield. Well, the Prime Minister's reprimand for Swamy has come as a big relief for the BJP leaders. Now, party leaders who were unsure of speaking about Swamy without receiving clear instructions from the top leadership agreed that the Rajya Sabha MP should not miss the unambiguous signals. The party had already sent out a strong signal to Swamy, cancelling 2 functions where he was to speak. BJP leaders now hope that the Prime Minister's message that anyone who thinks that he is bigger than the system is wrong will put a check on Swamy's daily attacks on the government. Swamy has not only openly attacked the government's top officials, but also Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, saying that they were his personal views. Well, on to other news now. Well, a day after India signed the Missile Technology Control Regime, or the MTCR, the United States has backed India's entry and said that it would strengthen international non-proliferation. The US asserted that India has demonstrated a sustained commitment to non-proliferation and has an effective export control system that puts into effect the MTCR guidelines and procedures. Well, all 34 current members, including the US, agreed that India met the standards and its presence in MTCR would strengthen international non-proliferation. Now, the MTCR is an informal and voluntary association of countries that seeks to reduce the global missile proliferation threat, primarily by controlling exports of rockets and unmanned aerial vehicle systems capable of delivering weapons of mass destruction and also related equipment and technology. Meanwhile, in a new turn into India's NSG bid, now China on Monday said that it is ready to continue discussions on new entrants to the nuclear suppliers group, but is unaware of a facilitator being appointed to look into India's application to join the elite club. Now, China denies any knowledge of a panel headed by Rafael Grossi, an Argentinian diplomat, which had been formed to hold informal consultations on India's membership. Further, China asserted that it was not just them, but other member nations as well, which blocked India's entry into the NSG. China also added that it has been doing the groundwork for the entry of non-NPT countries into NSG. Now, China's remarks came a day after Ministry of External Affairs hinted that China's sternness could hurt bilateral ties. India and Pakistan, who applied for the membership of the 48-member NSG, have not signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty, or the NPT, which China insists is a must for joining the grouping. Moving on in the bulletin now, Pakistan will decide whether or not to allow Indian investigators to visit the country to probe the Pathankot terror attack only after Eid. Now, a high-level meeting to be attended by top civil and military officials will be convened by Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to discuss India's request for a visit. The meet would also decide on talks over the issues related to bilateral dialogue between the two neighbours. Well, a 5-member joint investigation team from Pakistan has visited India between 27th to 31st of March to collect evidence with regard to the attack. In return, India has requested Pakistan now to allow its investigators to visit the country to question alleged masterminds of the attack, including JEM chief Maulana Masood Azhar and his brother. A developing story coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. Well, an encounter between the security forces and terrorists is underway in Kupwara district of Jammu and Kashmir. Well, this is the 7th militant attack in Kashmir in less than a week. Remember, last week, 8 CRPF personnel were martyred and 24 injured in a major ambush by 2 terrorists who were neutralized in an encounter at Pampore. Earlier this week, a huge cache of arms and explosives were also seized, including 6 AK-47 rifles, maps, grenades, radio sets and ground positioning system or the GPS. Well, weather update now. Well, parts of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand received a heavy rainfall on Monday as the southwest monsoon intensified in the hilly state. The Met Department has predicted heavy to very heavy rain in isolated places over Goa and coastal Andhra Pradesh as well. Meanwhile, moderate to heavy rains were also recorded in parts of Uttar Pradesh.
Heavy rains lashed parts of Himachal Pradesh on Monday as monsoon remained active in the lower hilly areas of the state. The Met Department has warned of heavy rains in some places till July and rains and thunder showers at some places in the lower, mid and higher hills over the next 6 days, up to July 3rd.
अभी हिमाचल प्रदेश में पिछले 24 घंटों में कुछ एक इलाकों में बारिश रिकॉर्ड की गई। डिस्ट्रिक्ट मंडी और डिस्ट्रिक्ट सिरमौर में हैवी बारिश भी रिकॉर्ड की गई। आने वाले दिनों में भी अगले 4-5 दिन मौसम जो खराब रहेगा और लगातार बारिश हो सकती है। काफ़ी स्थानों में बारिश होने की संभावना है। जो ऊपरी इलाके हैं उनको छोड़कर बाकी जो मिड हिल्स, लो हिल्स हैं उसमें जो बारिश है वो काफ़ी जगह हो सकती है।
Meanwhile, just 24 hours of rain has led to waterlogging in Cuttack, with life in many low-lying areas coming to a grinding halt. The city has received around 181 millimeters of rainfall in the past 24 hours, and prediction of more rains over the next 48 hours paints a very dreary picture. The Met Department has forecast heavy rainfall in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka too for the next few days. Moderate to heavy rains were recorded in parts of Uttar Pradesh where major rivers are in spate. Reports state that Ganga is rising in Fatehgarh, Kannauj, Kanpur and Mirzapur, while the Yamuna is rising in Mohna and Banda. Heavy rain was recorded in some parts of the national capital late in the night. While the weather in Delhi has remained warm and humid over the past couple of days, the Met Department said that Delhi will get rains by July 1st and the rainfall will increase throughout the month. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the global market uncertainty has once again made gold a safe haven asset. Now, experts feel that prices are likely to remain firm and on course to touch 33,500 rupees by the end of this year. Here is a report.
Fueled by the market mayhem after Brexit, gold is once again flying off the shelves. On Friday itself, after the results of the UK referendum, prices of the yellow metal rose by 8.2% to touch $1,319 an ounce. This year, prices jumped 6%, making gold the best performing commodity. Experts feel that the impending US elections, geopolitical tensions and volatility in the currency markets could only add to gold's glitter further.
Now it is the US election which are coming along. Then there is a terrorism. Then there is a war which is going on in different places in the Middle East. So there are too many geopolitical activities which are happening. Now an investor who is got his hard-earned money, he becomes susceptible.
Demand for gold is likely to rise as much as 10% this year. 2/3 of this demand comes from villages where jewelry is an investment. Although rural demand has tumbled after two back-to-back droughts, the projected surplus rainfall is expected to boost gold prices.
Gold is preferred everywhere because liquidity is very fast. You can encash it within 5 minutes, 2%, 3% here or there. And you don't need somebody very expert to advise you what is the price you're going to get. Everything is very clear to the consumer.
Gold has also gained because commodities overall have crumbled due to oversupply and the Chinese slowdown. And now, gold is being seen as a strong hedge against global economic uncertainty. Financial year 2014-15 threw up several surprises for the investors. Assets like real estate and gold, long considered defensive bets, floundered. Prices of gold tumbled to 25,610 rupees. While real estate continues to be in doldrums, but gold seems to be glittering. Reporting from Delhi with camera person Prem, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
In News at 10, we'll take a very short break, but do stay with us as coming up ahead is all the international and sports news.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries. Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m.
Hello and a warm welcome to It's My Life. Tracking the country's Union Aviation Minister. So you have a sweet tooth also?
Yeah, I'm very fond of ice cream.
Anything you want to ask him?
We have only seen you in TV, but we haven't seen you directly actually. That's your
favorite comic artist?
Oh, I have a lot of Archies. Watch me on It's My Life only on Rajya Sabha TV.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. On to the big international story now. Well, days after Britain's historic referendum on leaving the EU, there is still no clarity on how to begin the procedure. Now, fearful of a prolonged period of political and economic uncertainty, European leaders are eager for the UK to make a swift start on extricating itself from the bloc, but the country itself is reluctant. Now, a cruncher three-day summit in Brussels begins today to contain the fallout of Brexit. Britain continues to face an uncertain future after the historic vote to leave the EU. The divorce is already looking messy, with Prime Minister David Cameron and key EU leaders in disagreement on how to even begin. The European Union insisted on Monday that it will not hold informal talks with the UK until it triggers Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty. This came after German Chancellor Angela Merkel held talks with French President François Hollande and Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi. According to Article 50, a member state that wishes to leave the European Union has to notify the Council. But British Prime Minister David Cameron made it clear in Parliament that London was reluctant to launch formal exit proceedings yet.
I've spoken to Chancellor Merkel, President Hollande and a number of other European leaders. We've discussed the need to prepare for the negotiations and in particular the fact that the British government will not be triggering Article 50 at this stage. Before we do that, we need to determine the kind of relationship we want with the EU. And that is rightly something for the next Prime Minister and their cabinet to decide.
Also ich befasse mich mit den Realitäten und die heißt, dass eine Mehrzahl der Bewohnerinnen und Bürger Großbritanniens sich für den Austritt aus der Europäischen Union entschlossen hat und deshalb erwarte ich auch zu einem bestimmten Zeitpunkt die Mitteilung nach Artikel 50.
Pourquoi ne pas perdre de temps? Parce que rien n'est pire que l'incertitude. L'incertitude, elle génère des comportements politiques, souvent irrationnels.
Opposition Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn, who backed Britain remaining in the EU, has insisted stalling the announcement would leave Britain in a state of paralysis. But Corbyn faces political paralysis of his own after 19 of his party MPs resigned from senior posts in an act of no confidence.
Don't let those people who wish us ill divide us. Stay together, strong and united.
Meanwhile, amid uncertainty, markets continue to see a downward trend, with billions more dollars being wiped off the value of shares in Europe and on Wall Street. UK Finance Minister tried to calm markets on Sunday, saying that the country was ready to face the future from a position of strength.
It will not be plain sailing in the days ahead. But let me be clear, you should not underestimate our resolve. We were prepared for the unexpected, and we are equipped for whatever happens. And we are determined that, unlike 8 years ago, Britain's financial system will help our country deal with any shocks.
All eyes are now on the Brussels summit today, where British Prime Minister David Cameron will brief the other EU leaders, explaining to them the political fallout of Brexit vote. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. News from the US now. Well, Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton and Liberal favourite Elizabeth Warren campaigned together for the first time on Monday in Ohio. The coming together for these two leaders brought forth a populist economic message to the swing state. Ohio could be vital in November's White House showdown. Now, Warren is a leader of the Democratic Party's progressive wing and a potential vice presidential pick for Hillary Clinton. A fiery critic of Wall Street, she has also aggressively attacked the wealthy Donald Trump. Clinton's decision to campaign with Warren is being seen as an effort to stop Trump from gaining ground in the state. Now, Ohio traditionally receives plenty of attention from presidential candidates. It has backed every successful presidential nominee since 1964, and no Republican has won the White House without carrying the state.
When Donald Trump says he'll make America great, he means make it even greater for rich guys just like Donald Trump. Great for the guys who don't care how much they've already squeezed from everyone else. Great for the guys who always want more. Because that's who Donald Trump is. The guy who wants it all for himself. And watch out, because he will crush you into the dirt to get whatever he wants. That's who he is.
All right, two fiery ladies there ganging up against Donald Trump. Let's get you some more international news now in World Wrap. The Pakistan's People's Party has filed a petition with the Election Commission demanding that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and 4 of his relatives be disqualified for not disclosing their wealth. The petition says they were not eligible for membership of Parliament as they were involved in corruption and hence not honest as required under Article 62 and 63 of the Constitution. The application said that Sharifs failed to reveal the complete assets of family members. 2 people were killed and 2 others injured in a shooting in a rural part of Oregon in the United States. The suspected gunman was captured by the state police, but the reason behind the shooting is still being probed. Victims were transported to area hospitals. 17 Colombian soldiers have died in a helicopter crash in the Andes. The Mi-17 helicopter, which was traveling to a military base, came down 110 miles northeast of Bogota. A military spokesperson said that poor weather was the reason behind the crash. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has apologized for the downing of a Russian military jet on the Turkey-Syria border, the Kremlin has said. The Russian jet was shot down while it took part in a military campaign in Syria. Erdogan expressed his sympathy and deep condolences to the family of the killed pilot and asked to be forgiven. The damaged flight data recorder from an Egypt airplane that crashed has been successfully repaired by France. A flight MS-804 from Paris to Cairo crashed into the Mediterranean Sea on 19th of May, killing all 66 people on board. On to sports and on to Euro Cup action. Well, England suffered their worst humiliation since they were knocked out of the 1950 World Cup by US as Iceland shocked them in the last 16 on Monday, while Italy produced a tactically superior display to end Spain's quest for a 3rd consecutive European Championship title.
Iceland pulled off one of the biggest shocks in European Championship history, beating England 2-1 in the round of 16 on Monday, continuing the astonishing run of the smallest nation at the tournament. After falling behind to a 4th-minute Wayne Rooney penalty, they levelled almost immediately through Ragnar Sigurdsson and struck again in the 18th with a shot by Kolbeinn Sigthorsson. The Icelanders defended superbly in the second half to earn the biggest victory in their history and a quarter-final match against France on 4th July. For Roy Hodgson, it was a desperate and shameful way to end his 4 years as England manager when he stepped down on Monday night. Meanwhile, in another match, Italy broke a 22-year jinx to end Spain's bid for a record 3rd successive European title with a deserved 2-0 win.
And it takes, De Gea pushes it out.
In another battle between a couple of powerhouses in European football. Chiellini scored the game's opening goal, bundling home from close range after David De Gea had parried an header free kick in greasy conditions in the first half.
Just getting there ahead of Gerard Piqué, the defender, thinking and acting like a striker.
An injury-time goal by striker Graziano sealed victory for the Italians, who had not won a competitive match against Spain since the 1994 World Cup and were humiliated 4-0 by their old rivals in the Euro 2012 final. They will now play Germany in the quarter-final clash on Saturday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
He's done a real number on Spain. And the winners of the last 2 tournaments have been...
Well, from a Euro Cup to Wimbledon action, and defending champion Novak Djokovic and former champions Roger Federer, Venus Williams, along with current French Open champion Garbine Muguruza, all advanced to the 2nd round of the Wimbledon Championships on Monday. Well, world number 1 Djokovic got his campaign for a 3rd successive Wimbledon title off to a winning start with a 6-0, 7-6, 6-4 victory over Britain's James Ward. The 29-year-old Serb is on target for the record books. A 4th Wimbledon title would make him just the 2nd man since Don Brood in 1938 to win 5 straight majors. Meanwhile, in another match, Roger Federer began his 18th consecutive Wimbledon challenge with a straight set 7-6, 7-6, 6-3 win over Argentina's Guido Pella. The 3rd seed bidding for an 8th Wimbledon title at the age of 34 struggled to shake off a gutsy opponent before his class prevailed. Now he next plays world number 772 Marcus Willis of Britain. Meanwhile, in the women's draw, French Open champion Garbine Muguruza provided an early show of grit on day 1 as she faced a tough test against Italy's Camilla Giorgi before progressing 6-2, 5-7, 6-4. Meanwhile, the world number 2 seed is in the same half of the draw as 5-time champion Venus Williams, who equaled Emily Frazier's record of appearing in 71 Grand Slams as she overcame Croatia's Donna Vekic 7-6, 6-4. That's all in this edition of News. Thanks for watching.